Welcome into another Still Talking episode where today we have the one and only, the guy who fights for everyone's mental health, Marcus Skeet, also known as Hullboy.
Hello.
What's happening, brother?
This is mental. I'm so grateful to be here.
He's been in awe
surreal.
ever since he sat down on the couch, ladies and gentlemen. He's just like, wow. And it's so nice to see.
Honestly, this is like unbelievable. Even little things like the STILLGANG in the background, the blue, it's crazy to be here. I'm very grateful to be here.
Thank you. I want to get straight into it. I want to hit you with a question for you to tell the audience.
Okay.
Who is Marcus Skeet?
A fat lad from Malton who runs. I don't know. It's a very deep question, isn't it? But Marcus is me. I think the Hullboy is it's not a persona because it is me. I don't fake stuff, but you know, Marcus is who I am at home, and yeah, I hope one day I can run across the world and spread awareness for mental health, and that's my aim.
You talked about the Hullboy then. For people that don't know, but a lot of people that do, how did you get the nickname Hullboy?
Yeah, it's not even a fun story. I was so I'm a Hull City fan, and it was Preston away, and I used to make YouTube vlogs, like little match day vlogs, talking to myself, you know. And it was about 4 o'clock one morning, and I needed a nickname. I needed a username to post the first ever video. So I just thought, right, what should we go for? And it just sprung to mind, the Hullboy. I wish now I just put Marcus Skeet, but
Why?
I don't know. I think the Hullboy is nice. But I'm not even from Hull. I'm from York. It's not even like this.
Yeah, but it's still cool to be named the Hullboy.
Yeah, it's like people in Hull come up to me, whereabouts in Hull you from? I'm from York. I've got no
relevance at
No.
all. Well, you have because you support them. I think it's quite a cool name if I have my opinion on it. But tell me, before you became Hullboy,
Yeah.
tell me about growing up. Tell me about the Marcus before you became who you are online.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small little village in Malton. It's like a little story, this, isn't it?
That's what it's for.
I grew up in a small village called Malton in North Yorkshire. I never, like, when I grew up, I didn't realise that I wanted to be, you know, doing content or running. In fact, a fun story that I used to pull out of every sports day race. Like, if I was ever having to do running in PE, I'd fake an injury or try and be sick because I hated running with a passion.
The guy who does miles upon miles now used to fake to get out of sports. Why did you do that?
I was always self-conscious growing up about my weight, about what people thought of me. And I felt like if I ran, I wasn't very quick. I was scared that people would make fun of me when the bellies are all wobbling during run. And I don't know, I've always grown up, you know, self-conscious, which sounds daft now that I put myself out there on social media.
Doesn't sound daft, brother.
But like even still doing content now, and I know you've probably gone through the same thing, it's always thinking about what people think, and you always take the negative to heart, and that can be damaging. But yeah, growing up it was weird. I think, especially not growing up in a city, it was, you knew everybody, and like if you put yourself out there, everyone that made fun of you is people you knew on a deep basis. So it was quite tough. And then in 2019, my dad was diagnosed with dementia, which has been very, very tough. I don't want to get all emotional on your podcast, but...
No, it's a safe space to be emotional. I'm not telling you to be emotional or not. I'm just saying, brother, comfort. This is a chance for you to speak about your story and highlight the areas you want to highlight. Yeah. And I want to reel it back a little bit and talk about your most recent achievement. Yeah. The marathon you completed.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's an amazing,
amazing
accomplishment.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not easy to do.
That was a mental day.
Why did you decide to do a marathon? Because they're not an easy challenge.
Yeah. So when I started running, when I did a mile a day in April, it was just to push my body, to see what I could do. It wasn't a lot every day, but it was consistency, and I think that's such a huge thing, especially with running. It's not about the miles, it's just getting out there and doing it. And after the first month, I ran the last mile with Russ, the hardest geezer, and he said, it might be a bit tough, but in September, if you can train and show that you can do it, I will run a marathon with you. And since then, it was like, I've always wanted to do that. I've put my mind to it.
So he gave you that gas ignition to like,
Yeah.
if you can train and you can get to the place you want to be to complete a marathon, I'll do it with you.
Yeah, and like,
What was that feeling like?
He's so mental, but in a good way. He's incredible. And like, someone who's ran the full length of Africa, and it was like 2 weeks after he'd finished, and he tells me that, and it's like, wow, like I have to train, I have to put in the focus for it, because it's a dream come true. And like, meeting people like him, like yourself, and meeting these people, it's just been a whirlwind of a year, and I'm just so grateful for even opportunities like this, sat in the studio. It's crazy.
That's so interesting. Hardest geezer 2 weeks after finishing the full length of Africa has asked you to run a marathon once you feel ready. That is so interesting. That describes the type of guy he is.
Yeah, he's so lovely.
To just portray that opportunity, but for you to also go, take a big deep breath in and grab it with both hands, which you did, which you watched, and I was texting you in between, and I had a little phone call.
I rang you after my marathon.
You rang me after your marathon. We had a talk. I was so proud of you. But in between that, did you ever feel or think about giving up?
Yeah. See, when I came out, I didn't want to speak about it, but like the last couple of weeks, I have been struggling. I'll be completely
last couple of weeks to this day, or
yeah, I'm okay now. But I think it's so weird to say that. Like, I look back on the year I've had, and it's been such a whirlwind. Like, honestly, the best year of my life, and I mean that. Like, some of the opportunities has just been unbelievable. Like, if I spoke to myself a year ago today, I wouldn't believe you. But it can be difficult at times, and it just goes to show that even, the happiest people, the most famous people, the strongest people can suffer. And yeah, I think it's the feeling of just what next, and it's a big thing. I've got plans, but it's just I struggle with a lot of different things, and that's the thing with mental health is even after you overcome it, it's never truly gone. You look at Tyson Fury, for example. He's heavyweight champion of the world, millions of pounds, wife, kids, dog. We love dogs.
We love dogs.
We love dogs.
That's me dead dog, yeah.
Sorry. But it's like,
it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, and like, I think the mindset now is just take everything as it comes. I think trying to achieve things and trying to set yourself massive goals can come under a lot of pressure. It's good to have goals.
So what I'm getting from you there is you've achieved a lot so much in this year. It's been an absolute success. It's a whirlwind, like you described it. But your body's telling you the next thing. And it's hard sometimes to go to the next thing because you feel like you're just a ticking clock then.
Yeah.
I go through the exact same thing, brother, and I think it's normal too.
Yeah.
You achieve so much.
Yeah.
And you want to spend a full year just appreciating what you've done. But you've got to do the next thing.
Yeah, and I think, especially in content creation, it
goes on forever.
You look at someone like Kim Kardashian, she don't really have to do a lot. She just sort of goes out. But in content creation, you are you, Your brand's Stillryan, my brand's Thehullboy. You always have to do something. And it's a very scary world. I'm so grateful to be, good friends with content creators.
Why is it scary to you?
So I'm 16, so
that's so young. That's so young. Honestly, for what you've done, achieved, the people you speak to, that's so young.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's the pressure of having to make a living out of things. Now, I failed my GCSEs. I'll be completely frank. I passed my English, which is important. I get my maths resit results in 8 days. So I'm looking forward to them.
You're passed, bro. I'm manifesting it. Even if you failed, I'll make the examiner say you've passed.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think the world is quite scary.
It's scary, but you're so young. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself, man.
Yeah, well, I just, life is worth living though. And I know I've said the last few minutes that it has been tough, but honestly, I'm so grateful to be in the position I am now. Even to be sat here talking to you means the absolute world to me. And like, this is a dream come true. I want to be able to tell my grandchildren when I grow older these stories.
They'll be able to watch this.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Touching on the marathon, you raised £23,800.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I
want to know, you do these challenges, You approach them.
Yeah.
How do you fund them? Is it personal? Is it branded? Like, do you get help off anyone? How do you fund it?
So, yeah, that's a very...
Tell the world.
So everything's myself. Me, my mum and my dad. We go around and we do these challenges. So I announced last month that I was going to do 6 marathons in 6 different continents, and it had taken about 5 months of planning. We got a sponsor in place, and then 2 days before Christmas, my sponsor pulled out, and that's why I've been struggling recently, because like you get a plan, you get it all sorted, announced, you get a sponsor in, and you're thinking, wow, you feel on top of the world, honestly. And I was just so looking forward to going across the world and running these marathons, and then they pull out last minute. But, you know, I like to find positives in every situation. If a brand didn't want to work with me, then, you know, that's fine.
Don't take business personal.
Yeah, I've never had a sponsor, so I don't know how this all
Don't
works.
take business personal. Everything happens for a reason. You've got to look at the positives of it.
That's life, yeah.
One door's closed there, 1,000 more doors are going to open.
Yeah.
That's not the only sponsor in the world that I want to sponsor Marcus Skeet to go and do 6 marathons in 6 continents. I promise you. You kind of took the next question out my mouth about the next challenge.
Yeah.
I'm guessing 6 marathons in 6 continents is the next big challenge.
Yeah, so, well, I haven't told anyone, but I want to tell you, you're going to be the first person I tell.
Well, you're telling the world, you're telling the Still Talking peeps too.
So next summer, I want to attempt to be the first and... No, not the first. The youngest person to ever run the length of the UK, Land's End to John O'Groats. So it starts at the bottom of England, and you run a marathon every day or 20 miles every day until you reach the top of Scotland.
And we're talking next year's in 2026 or this year, 2025?
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah,
this summer.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Oh my!
The youngest person to ever do it is 22.
And you've just announced it on here, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
No, so
that's so good, bro. Well,
thank you so much.
I'll be watching in me comfy bed whilst you. No, I might join you for a couple of miles if the invite's there. But yeah, lad, lad. That's a big challenge.
Yeah. So the world record at the moment is 22. So I hope to complete when I'm 17. I've always wanted to do that. When I began running, I remember the first time I met Russ, I told him this is what I want to do, because I think. Realistically, our bodies only get about 20, 30 years of being able to do things.
Extreme stuff.
Yeah, and I want to be able to do these things because I've been in a place, I know we'll touch on about it later, but I've been in a very bad place where I couldn't even get out of bed, you know, and now to be able to run marathons means the world. So I want to do as much as I can and spread as much awareness for mental health as I can.
Well, speaking on mental health, my next topic for you is... mental health. You're always battling for other people's mental health. Yeah. You're always fighting for others. But how is yours? Are you okay?
Yeah. Pulling that, getting emotional. Yeah, I'm okay now. I've been in very bad places in the past, which is a big thing I wanted to talk about today is, you know, my journey with mental health. I've done a lot of talking about it, but I feel like getting my experiences out there may help people who may be going through the same thing. But yeah, mental health is a sort of, what's the word?
I catch you always talking about mental health and other people battling it, and you're doing the exact same thing now because you're so used to fighting for others.
Yeah.
But how are you? How is Marcus?
Yeah, I'm okay. I think there's a lot of different things going on in the world, and I don't want to, you know, start, you know, sort of moaning and all that.
Brother, you looking after yourself and talking about your own feelings is not moaning, it's self-care.
Do you know what, like, it just shows mental health, it can affect people even in a very good place. It's like 3 weeks ago, I got my first ever date, I was going to the gym, I was, you know, running for mental health, I got a sponsor in place, and it was just, you know, it was so mental. And then like a week later, the sponsor pulls out, date, you know, it couldn't work for certain reasons. But it's so many different things can happen in such a short period of time. But that's the thing I'm grateful for is life changes so quickly.
Let's pick up on the date real quick. You don't have to say who it was, where you went. Don't have to say anything personal. But how did it go?
Do you know what? I'm so grateful for that day. I didn't expect 130 million people to see it on Twitter though. That is like mental to me.
And a lot more seen it because of quote retweets and like 130 million people. And I think because of the content we did outside relating to it, I think there was something like 9,000 comments or 9,000 quote retweets. Like it was insanely amount of people that reached.
Yeah, I think flowers on a first date is quite risky, but I've got a lot of good words to say about that girl. Obviously, I won't say her name and all that, but yeah, it went really well, and I really did like her. She did live 2 hours away, so distance was a problem. So unfortunately, it didn't work. But
that many people seen it, you could have created a reality TV show about that date.
I wish I could do that. If she's watching this, give us another chance.
If you're watching this, just give him another chance. But I just find you so fascinating because you're so raw and authentic, you don't even realise it.
Cheers.
Because you're just being you.
Well, you have to be. There's a lot of people in the world that put an act on, and it's for me, the most thing is to be yourself. Because if you go down the street, you want to speak to an elderly woman, how you do on content, because you shouldn't change for anybody.
No.
And that's the thing, is who really cares what people think, you know?
I like it because you're building yourself up here. You're like, who cares what people think?
Yeah, but like, that's the truth. Is so many people worry about what people think of them and what people say about them. But the truth is, in 100 years' time, when we're dead, no one's going to care about, what people thought of you. People are going to say about what you did. And I just want to prove the world that mental health matters. And also, even the fattest people from Malton can run marathons. But
do you feel like you care a bit too much about what people think?
I did, especially when I started social media. I really did take the hate to heart.
Going from a village of 20 or 100 people or whatever it is to millions of people in the world, that's a lot of comments, a lot of opinions, a lot of information directed to you.
Well, I was bullied when I was growing up, so it wasn't as if I hadn't experienced hate before. But I think the thing is now is social media. It is a real place, but also these people that put these comments on, you're never going to see. And if you do see, they're not going to say anything. For example, I went to Germany for the Euros, which was such a incredible experience. And I saw someone who I knew that I'd put a few hate comments on. I didn't say anything. I'm not that type of person. I just saw him and he was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And that's,
really?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is people hate online for clicks. And that's the whole thing about it. I've realized recently, if I ever reply to a hate comment, they're doing it purposely because they want views, they want likes. And it's an evil world we live in. People saying things and bringing people down just for a few clicks on the internet. But
you seen a hater and you knew he was a hater and he was like, "Oh, hello lads, you okay?" And he was sound.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I recognised it because of the profile picture.
That's so interesting.
But I think I'm easy to forgive people, which is a bad trait, but it's also a good trait. People deserve chances.
For every person that hates on you, you should challenge them to a mile run. You should start a challenge for every hater. You should run a mile with me because you were nasty.
Yeah.
And that's how you forgive them.
That's the thing.
If they run a mile for mental health.
Running is so beautiful for the mind. I know we've been on a few runs together and like just the long runs are a challenge. When you're setting off, all your worries go. And that's such a beautiful thing, is when you're running, you don't care about what people are saying about you on the phone because you're out there, you're out in nature, you're running. And that's why I love doing it. Not just for my mental health, but for others as well, to talk about it and just spread the awareness.
This is what interests me so much. You was a guy struggling with your mental health.
Yeah.
You figured a way how to, I wouldn't say beat it, but cope with it and, deal with it, which is running. And you started to advertise that running to help others.
Yeah.
That's so like mind-blowing to see another human care for others that much. He's sharing his own journey to help others. But I want to know, do you ever forget about you whilst you're fighting for everyone else? Sometimes.
Do you know what?
I just wonder about it because
Yeah.
you fight for so many other people
Do you
in
know
their
what?
minds.
I think if I hadn't have experienced it in the past, probably, but every run now, even like opportunities like this, I sit here and I think about what I was a few years ago. Like,
What was that?
well, I'm gonna get emotional here. Yeah. So I started suffering with mental health when I was 12. When my dad got diagnosed with dementia, and yeah, it took a lot to try and get over it. And well, it was 2 years ago that I attempted to kill myself, and it's a really sensitive topic to talk about, but I do want to talk about it today. I was going through something which was called OCD, intrusive thoughts, which meant like superstitions.
Yeah.
For example, walking over 3 drains or under a ladder. I took that to the extreme. So it was little things like touching the table. I had to do 10 times and think about the right thing at the right time. And I was going through so much. I was bullied in school, and I ate to comfort myself. Like I went from, I think I was about like 60 kilograms to 140 when I was at my highest. I put on, it was like 10 stone in weight because I was eating. And there was a point, and I try not to talk about it much, but I was in my room on my own for 6 months. I didn't leave it. Like my mum put things through the door, and she saved my life, man. And I went through a stage where I didn't speak to anybody. I was in my own thoughts all the time. And to be truthful, I don't know how I'm here now. When I was 14, it was the first time I left my room. I went for a walk, and I said to my family, I'm okay. I just want to go for a walk to clear my head. And when I went for a walk, I went to this this woods, and it has this hill. It's called Orchard Fields, and I don't know why I've said the name of it, but I went there, and I took some pills from my house, because obviously with my dad's dementia and with my depression and OCD, there was a lot of tablets. So I took a big box, and I went to the top, and I took the full box, and I was stood over it, and I remember it so clearly as I was stood over. It was like a 100-meter drop. So if I went, I was gone. And I stood there, and I started to go really dizzy with all the pills. And I just remember looking out, and I was thinking, I don't want to be here no more. I felt like I had nothing, but luckily that day I didn't die. And I'm here now. But I look back on that moment there and realize that life is so precious. And I've been in situations since, even doing content and speaking to so many people, I have been in those positions where I do get them thoughts, but I look back on times like that and realize that, life is worth living. And it didn't work. I went to the hospital, and the doctor told me that I had 12 months to live if I didn't sort my act together. And it was very blunt. He was a very blunt doctor, like proper Yorkshire man. But he told me that, and it sort of snapped something clicked in my head, that I wanted to get my life back on track. But I remember laying in that hospital, and I burst into tears when my mum and dad walked in, and just seeing my dad, man. And like,
your dad means a lot to you, doesn't he?
Yeah, man, he's my everything. I'm gonna cry here, Anna.
Don't, like, because I've been on the brink of it, just watching you speak about your story, because the next thing I want to talk about is your dad.
Yeah, man, he's my inspiration, man, and I mean that. I'm gonna cry. Like, it's like today, it's not been good, and with dementia, it gets worse, and it's a progressive illness.
There's 55 million people worldwide with dementia.
Really?
I searched it up last night, and I've seen the video you uploaded about your dad and showing the side of it.
Yeah.
Why, like, everyone says growing up, you're a mummy's boy or you're a dad's boy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pick, but why do you, like, from before he got the dementia, was you and your dad like a rock solid relationship? Did you just do everything to, like...
Do you know, so my dad, he was diagnosed when I was 12, but since I was about 4 or 5, he had depression and anxiety, which is why I do so much for mental health, because he is my everything, and I mean that. I remember my first ever memory was my dad pushing me in a pram and he was going through a lot, and you know, he'd lost his parents and he was going through so much, and yet he put a smile on, and he was always there for me. And I remember when he was first diagnosed with dementia, I looked up the worst side effects, like you do with anything. It's like Google can be awful, man.
Google can
I've got
be
a
awful.
cough and they're telling me I've got 3 months left to live. It's one of those, but you know, reading about it. But the thing that gets me the most is he doesn't know who I am now, but he still tries, and you can still see there he cares. And that to me means everything. He's always been there for me, even when he's been going through something, or even if he forgets. I don't like to say forgets. I like to say that he's just needs a little help piecing things together, and he's still there. And that's why I love my mum as well so much, what she's had to go through. But my dad...
What a woman your mum is, by the way.
Yeah.
I've met her. What a woman she is.
I love Jane.
I listened to you, and I listened to your dad's story, and
Yeah.
what's it like having a parent who has dementia, and you said he doesn't understand who you are anymore? What's that like? I don't.
Yeah.
And this is so hard for me to ask.
No, but it's good to talk about.
Of course it is, because I feel like you've never opened up about it.
Yeah.
To get it off your chest.
Do you know, it's been tough, I'll be honest. I think I'm only here now because of my dad, because he is such a strong man, and I love him to absolute bits. And like seeing him now, like I don't want to go into too much detail, but the last couple of weeks, every day he's had an accident in bed. He's screaming. He doesn't know who I am. He's opening the door, and it breaks me to see my dad slowly fade away, but also still make these memories and be with him, and him still be here is what keeps me going. It's been tough, especially when I was in such a dark place, seeing my dad as well still try and put a smile on. And I love him to bits, man. And like, sorry, I just swore.
Well, I'm listening to you, and I'm just like,
I don't want to cry on a podcast.
No one sees this side of Marcus, because Marcus is always fighting for others. But today's about you.
Yeah.
And you should give more days to you.
You know,
because you matter, and without you, you don't fight for others. So
thank you.
You need to make sure you are good, which you are.
Yeah.
To be able to keep fighting.
Do you know what about my dad is he's not a runner, but he's always like, if I ever go for a run, he'd always, do you want me to come with you? Oh. And I love him, man. And do you know what? I've been through a lot with my dad, but to see the people supporting him as well, and people coming up to me and asking how my dad is means the world, because without my dad, I'm not here. I'm not the Hullboy. And I started making content because originally my dad couldn't go to Hull City games because he wasn't very well. So I started making them YouTube vlogs to show him when I got home. So technically, without my dad, there would be no Hullboy videos. There would never have been these running challenges. And
that gives me goosebumps.
It's strange to think about, but like my mum and my dad are my inspirations, and I think people need to cherish family more, because we only get one family, and you know, friends come and go, girls come and go, people come and go. In the content world especially, a lot of people only care if you're doing something, but family are always there for you, and that's why I love my mum and dad so much, and my grandparents, man.
You've just said something there that's just sparked in my brain, and I'm fucking gonna get emotional here. You get so many views in the world. Yeah. The main view is your mum and dad.
Yeah, man. it's we're both getting emotional here, man. I just want to give you a hug.
That's surreal, that, bro. That's surreal.
It is.
You make videos for your mum and dad. That's it me like a ton of bricks.
Are you okay, man?
That's it me like a ton of bricks, because no matter what views you get in the world,
they're the ones that matter.
Jesus. Oh my.
You know,
oh my.
Do you know they support you the most? And I want to move this on to you here. You have done so much. This isn't
my day, bro. This is your day. I know it's only 90 minutes, but this is your day.
But I mean this. You have done so much, and I love you, man.
I appreciate it, brother. I love you too.
I hope you know that.
I want to know, with everything that's going on,
Yeah.
and on that emotional topic that I've just nearly burst into tears, what's the end goal with it all in terms of mental health, fighting for others? What is the end goal?
Do you know what? I want to do as much as I can now. And this is going to sound not a sob story, but I don't know how long I've got left with my dad. And this last year he's really progressed badly. I want to... It's like there's a photo and it's me hugging my dad at the end of the marathon. And I was fine until I saw my dad. Like I run 26 miles. I was obviously a bit emotional, but when I saw my dad there holding the rope, man, I don't want to cry again, but he was holding the rope and he had this big smile on his face, and I ran over to him and I just burst into tears. And that's something that'll live with me forever. That's probably the happiest moment I've ever experienced, is giving my dad a hug. I know I was bursting into tears and I was crying, but seeing him there, and he didn't have a clue what was going on. And that's the truth. He gave me a hug and he was like, "You been drinking? You had a good time?" And it was just, even like, that was just so surreal. And I want to do as much challenges now so I can experience it with my dad and with my grandparents, because they're like 86 now. And we only get to have a certain amount of years with people. And I could, run the length of blooming Asia in 20 years' time, but if I can't experience it with my dad or with my grandparents, then it's not worth experiencing. And I mean that. That's why I want to set these challenges and get myself into shape, not to break world records, not to get clicks on the internet, but so I can share it with the people that were there and believed in me at a point.
Do you feel like you're on a ticking time clock? Because the way I hear you speaking is if you're trying to ram everything in, because you want it to be while they are still here, your grandparents, your dad.
Yeah, I think logistics side of things, I get Russ to help me with that, because I'll be honest, I wanted to run Land's End, John O'Groats the month after I ran a mile every day. It's not happening. I always get too carried away, which I think can be good. You set yourself mad challenges and it's better than not doing anything at all. But also, I need to think logistically about it. But I want to do things. I want my dad to experience these. And it's like with the 6 continents, we're going to go to Australia for the last one. And it's a very emotional thing. One of my family members is from Australia, and she sadly passed away last year, and we want to do the last marathon in her hometown with her sons all together and spread the awareness for mental health and talk about that. And
that's the end goal for Hullboy.
It
might not be the end goal, but it's definitely the next goal, is to complete these challenges with your dad and your nan and granddad, to have them around, to just feel that love. Like, I see such a different side to you now. Like, you see the side online of you creating and you fighting for other people's mental health, but right now I see Marcus Skeet. I see your why.
All the fat of it.
Brother, like, I'm not saying it's a negative thing to be fat, but don't speak down or negative about yourself, no matter if it's a joke or not.
Yeah.
You should speak positive about you, because you are a temple. You are.
Cheers.
Every single human person should value themselves, and this goes out to everyone watching. You should never speak down about yourself, even if it's a joke, because you're amazing.
Thank you.
Honestly, everyone is in their own way.
Yeah.
You should always speak positive about yourself, always. And speaking about yourself, let's speak about your weight loss journey.
Yeah.
I see you uploaded online. I see you've been sharing it all over, and people leave the comments supporting, motivating. They love seeing your journey. So I want to know, what sparked your decision to start that weight loss journey? I think we touched on it before.
The doctor said I had 12 months left to live if I carried on with the lifestyle. And I was about 140 to 145 kilos, which is like 40 pounds, which is like, well, it is. It's a lot.
What age was this at?
14.
Okay.
No, 15.
So 340 pounds at 15 years of age. And the doctor was like, you need to change something. Yeah,
so I had a fatty liver, I had diabetes, and also with the mental health side of things, like, it was so tough to even just get out of bed, never mind, putting the effort in. And I found a lot of the time that food was my comfort. And it sounds so silly, but
No, it's not silly at all, brother.
I think it was tough, but I wanted to do something. And I think not only is going out and running and going to the gym so good for your body, but also for your health, like mentally. When I went for a walk, I won't go back into the sad side of things, but I did go for a walk not knowing what I wanted to do. And I was very suicidal. And this was only April this year. And I wasn't going to kill myself, but I was in a very bad place, and I thought that no one loved me. That sounds so sad, doesn't it? But I felt in a bad place, and that walk saved my life. And I always tell people when they ask me why I started running, it was because that walk saved my life. And I remember the walk. It was just round in the country lanes, and I remember stopping and looking. It was about 8-9 p.m. in the summer, or like April, and I was watching the sunset go down, and I just remember thinking, I need to get my life sorted. And I went for a longer walk. I built it up, went for a little jog. I couldn't run 100 meters down the street. I was gone. I was finished after that, and I went for a takeaway afterwards. But no, I decided to just build it up, and that's why I wanted to lose weight, because I remember thinking about the times when I've been in a bad place and thinking about what the doctor said. And yeah, I've still got a long way to go, but I've gone from a size 5XL in clothing to now this is a 2XL, and I fit into an XL now.
That's fantastic,
which is,
you know.
It's still a long way to go. I mean, there's a lot of rolls of fat, but there was a lot more rolls of fat is what I'm saying.
Lad, you can always look at negative, but the positive is you are losing weight.
Thank you.
You are losing weight. You are better in your mental health. You are better in you as a person. And by
Thank
doing
you.
that, you're also spreading awareness around it. What I want to actually know about this weight loss journey is, day after day, how do you stay motivated? You've talked about your dad being one of the main points of motivation. Like, you wake up and we can all feel like shite.
Yeah.
How do you go, no, I am doing this run. No, I am completing this challenge.
There is one thing, and I've never spoke about it before. There was a lad, when I started year 7 in school, he was in year 11, and he took me under his wing and he made sure I was feeling welcomed. I didn't have loads of friends, and he always let me sit with him and his friends. And he was a very popular lad, and he just made me feel at home. And he went through a weight loss journey, and it was like something like mental. And he was so inspirational to me. And yeah, I found out last year that he killed himself, and I'm gonna cry. His name was Felix, and I wasn't close, really, really close to him. But I remember in year 7, he inspired me so much. And in year 9, I went through a bit of a weight loss. I was very big and I lost loads of weight, but I couldn't maintain it. And he gave me a message, and it's the last message he ever sent me. And it was just, keep going, bro. I remember you. I'm so proud of you. And like, I think about it now, and the other day I burst into tears because I found out like last year he was alone and he killed himself. And I'm not going to go and say he was my best friend, but I just wish I sent him a message. And that it's always stuck with me, how inspirational he was. And yeah, I didn't speak to him for a few years, but I just wish now that I'd have bumped into him on the street or just said hello to him and started talking to him again, because he inspired me so much. And he's probably my biggest inspiration by my family, because he was always big on fitness and talking about it. And he was so funny, the happiest guy. And that quote where you say you never really know what someone's going through is he, invited me for lunch, and he was always smiling, happy. Everyone loved him. And then to find out that he went and, killed himself, it broke me. And I found that out in February this year, and he actually he died early 2023. So I didn't know.
For a long time.
Yeah, and it just broke me. I just wish I was there. And for him, I was a lot younger than him, but he's a big inspiration to me. And yeah, I do a lot of this for him because
that's so just so thing. I don't even know how to describe it.
It's the thing. Like, mental health affects so many people, and I get a lot of comments saying just toughen up, man, and that really upsets me, because for me personally, I'm fine with the hate. I can take it, but it's the people that are going through something and people don't know about it, and there's such still a big stigma about talking about your mental health, and it's quite scary to think about. Like my grandparents, they're very loving, but they don't understand mental health.
Old school.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even now, there's still a lot of people that don't talk about their feelings, don't open up, and the rate for suicide is going up, and it's so upsetting to me.
That's your tackle, innit? What I noticed from you speaking is you don't like people being alone.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
The one thing you said about Felix was he was alone.
Yeah.
And the one thing you said about you when you attempted was you were alone.
Yeah, I think loneliness is a big thing. And even if you have so many friends, it doesn't mean that you're in such a good place, because where I grew up, people didn't talk about their emotions. When I went to school, you talk about girls, you talk about the football. You didn't have an open and honest chat. And that's something that I've realised now which is good, that so many people now are speaking to their friends.
Can I ask you something?
No. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Are you scared of being alone?
Yeah.
I've picked up from what you've been saying, and you say about losing your dad and losing your grandparents.
Yeah.
Are you scared to be alone? Are you scared to be alone on your own as Marcus?
Yeah, I think I am. Do you know what? I've made so many great friends this year in the content world, and I'm so scared to lose them. I feel like at the moment the only people I speak to is like content creators, and I'm just terrified that if I don't get enough views or if I don't do something, that they won't be there for me. And
those people that leave you in that moment, if your views drop or whatever, they are not friends.
Yeah.
Your personal life and business, look, you doing content work, so it's classed as business.
Yeah.
So don't get so personally attached to the people you meet, all of them, because some of them will leave you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. It's okay if people leave you. I'll never leave you. I don't give a fuck if you're getting one view. I don't care what you're doing. You've got my number. Always message me.
Yeah. Do you know?
You know what I mean? But don't be scared if other people are going to leave you, because what's meant to be will be.
My best friends are probably Russ,
Lads.
you, and Ellis Platten. And that sounds, because you've got your own life going on. Russ is doing his thing, Ellis is doing his thing. But I think you three are probably my best friends, because you've always been there for me. And I don't want to, I know it's a podcast about whatever, but when I started doing these running, like I had a few messages, but when I first started, you were there for me. And that means a lot. You ran with me when no one else did. And then when you started running, I've run with loads of people, and I'm so grateful to meet these people. But you were there for me when I didn't have, thousands of followers. You ran with me because you wanted to spread the awareness of mental health. And that means so much to me. And I still remember bumping into you. I was doing a blooming vlog, Everton ladies versus Liverpool ladies, and I bumped into you. And the first thing you said to me was, "I love your shoes." And I remember that. I was wearing blue Panda Dunks, and you complimented me. And like when I've met people, you are famous. I'm going to say that when I've met people who have got a following, they're always, "Oh yeah, I'll take the photo," and then they go off. But you made an effort, and you were there, and you genuinely cared. And that's why I love you so much, man. And that's why I've stayed in contact, because you are true. You are who you are. And there is no difference between Ryan Hall now, Ryan Hall at home, Ryan Hall doing content. You are you, and I love you, man.
Thank you. I'll give you that 30 seconds to compliment me, but this isn't about me, it's about you. So get off me, get off me. The next thing I want to talk about is I am officially diabetes free.
Oh yeah?
No, that was the quotation marks of you on your last 5 recent posts.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Talk to me how that happens and around it, like what was the situation?
Yeah, that was mental. So I got diagnosed with diabetes 2 years ago. It could have even been 3 years ago. And that has taken a big toll on my whole life. What I can eat, pricking my finger every day, and just like telling people that I have diabetes and I couldn't do things. It was really difficult. So I had type 2 diabetes. So there's two types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 you can't get rid of. Type 2 is like a lifestyle thing, which is caused by weight gain. So I was very scared to tell people I had it, because it was with me eating. And I know it was because of my mental health, but I was still, scared to tell people because it was my own, self-doing. But it's taken, about a year now of tracking my calories, not eating loads of sugar. And yeah, I went to the hospital the other day for my last visit of the year, and they told me that it was asleep now. So the diabetes is gone. Obviously, it can come back in a few years if I don't watch myself. But it's the same with a lot of things.
Well, I seen a quote retweet that I think you re-quote retweeted, and someone was like, "How can you lose diabetes? It stays with you forever." And you explain the situation to him. But it was someone like just being a knob, I think.
Yeah. There's so many people out there. I got a message the other day. You probably have to like mute after this, but it was a guy, and he said, it was when I went on my date, and he went, "Fatty little fuck, I hope your mum gets and your date fucks another guy in the bathroom." And I saw that was the first message when I opened Twitter to see that. And I remember just screenshotting it and just putting it on there just to show. And I regret it now, giving him a platform. But now I've just realised that people only do things and say the most horrid things.
To get attention?
Yeah. And I now try not to reply to hate comments because I know that if I reply, then people will say things to them and they'll get loads and loads of followers, loads and loads of views. And it's just not worth it. The people that should matter and the people I want to reply to, the ones giving me love and support.
That's it. Just look, all press is good press.
Sorry. My leg just... Sorry.
All press is good press no matter what.
Yeah.
It's hate or good because they're still pushing the fight.
Yeah.
That's the way you've got to look at it. But I'm not going to tell you what to do because you're doing it perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But if you give your attention to the negative, it will override and it will feed into your brain.
Do you know what? I think you'll probably agree with me is when you go onto social media, you'll see maybe 1,000 positive messages and maybe 10 negative ones. But it's the negative ones that stick with you.
They stick with you,
and
brother.
There's so many people that say, just don't listen to them. But it is difficult.
It's difficult when you're getting fed it every day and it's easy to say, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at your phone and you're going, oh, yeah, I've just uploaded this. I wouldn't say I get hate on my posts directly because my posts are very
wholesome.
Yeah. So it's hard for someone to hate on it.
Yeah.
But if you're posting something personal about your weight loss journey, about your father, about you mental health, doing runs, it gives people an angle to attack her, which is wrong. But it gives people more of an angle. But yeah, like the hate does come. You get DMs, you get messages, but you just... The quicker you can turn away from that hate and not give it any energy is the better. It's the way I look at it. The last question on your weight loss journey for me is, how would you talk someone through taking that first step for someone watching this that wants to do a weight loss journey?
Do you know what is just to believe? And that's with anything in life is every battle is us against us, especially the mental health battle is it's all right what people say about you, what people think about you, but realistically, the only way you can get better is if you do it. And it is tough, especially with weight loss, because it isn't something that can happen overnight. And that's a lot of people struggle with because if you're at a point where you're 140 kilograms, that could take 4 years of constantly going to the gym, not going to parties, not getting takeaways, and just doing things that you don't want to do. But I promise you, it is worth it. I struggle a lot, especially like with motivation. It sounds daft because I do a lot of, daft things, but with mental health and with weight loss, it's all about believing and just staying consistent. What does David Goggins say?
You don't know me, son.
Yeah, who's going to carry the votes on the logs?
Who's going to carry the votes, son?
Yeah, but it's like people like him,
You don't know me, son. Sorry, David Goggins overrode me, sorry.
I love him, man. He's so inspirational. And I think the big thing for weight loss is just to keep going. No matter what people say, you're doing it for you, okay? And I've noticed, like, especially with social media, is when people used to bully me in school, call me fat, and say these horrible things to me. I went to the gym the other day, and like some people like message me or follow me like now, and I'm like, you don't like me, you never have done, so don't now message me because of who I know or all of that, because it really does upset me. And you need to find those who are true. And with weight loss, when you lose loads of weight, maybe women are, I could be speaking to a girl right now, people will come up to you and like, oh, nice. But do it for you. you know?
First thing I said to you when I was outside is, you are looking fucking fantastic.
Thank you. 6-pack is
Lads,
coming.
you are looking fantastic.
Thank you
And we've
so
already
much.
touched on my next topic of resilience to hate, so we'll skip that one. And
Yeah.
we'll go straight to, the whole audience is now watching.
Are they?
Everyone's watching. You look at the cameras.
Nice.
For anyone struggling out there, Marcus,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Do you know what? I like to say that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I mean that. Everyone's path is different, you know? Some people's path, they could have a bit of luck and they could go and walk through that path within 5 minutes and be where they want to be. But every path has the same outcome, and it is success. It will take time. It will take a lot of dedication. And this is just to any aspect of life, whether it's, you know, wanting to lose weight, wanting to get the job you want, wanting to be famous, which is a weird word, isn't it? But everything takes time, but it is possible. And I mean it now. Life is worth living. Am I looking at this camera? Life is worth living. And I promise you, it will get tough. Every road is different. There will be bumps. There will be dead raccoons in the way. But you just got to pick them up. You got to go and you got to battle, because life is short. We only get, realistically, 70, 80 years. But we've got to make the most of it. So don't care what people think. Don't take what people say to heart. Be you, be true, and remember that, you know, mental health matters, but also you matter and your life matters. And I'm just so grateful to be here, man. This is
Lad, honestly, you could just speak for hours and I'd listen. You know what I mean? I'd just listen, honestly. You're so
man.
young and you faced a lot of challenges. But what's the most important lesson you've learned that you think others could benefit from?
The most important lesson is remember who's true. I think that's something that I've struggled with is, you know, there's a lot of people that'll come up to you or, you know, pretend they care, but it's the ones that do matter. Please give them, you know, the love and support, especially family. I love my family so much, and I think we've all had times when we were younger where we don't appreciate what they do for us. Like, for example, if my mum took my Xbox away from me, she was called every name under the sun, you know. But that's the thing, is they care for you. And I know now, if social media goes away, I could, you know, tomorrow everything could change. I could just disappear. But I know that my mum and dad are there for me, and the true people will care still. So, you know, and that's on social media, but everything in life, you know, people seem to love you when you're successful, but also you need to find the people that love you when you're not. And
Love you for you.
yeah.
It's very rare nowadays, especially when you're creating a status as a human being. It's very rare if people love you for you or for your status. And that's something you'll go through for the whole rest of your life.
Yeah.
Even if you're on social media or not.
Can I just say something? It's mental. Like, social media is so good, but you look at people, like, have you watched those old-fashioned romantic films? And, like, you see those, like, elderly people, like my grandparents have probably lived a fantastic life. And it's so mad. Social media is so good, but, like, you also need a life away from it. And that's what I've realised the last couple of weeks is that, you know, it's all good having this persona and putting yourself out there, but you also need, you know, a life outside of it. And
you do, brother, because social media is fake.
Yeah.
As much as we stay true to ourselves and we upload what's going on in that day, or we upload truth,
yeah,
social media is a scroll.
Yeah.
And my job is social media.
Yeah.
But I would advise anyone to get off the phone.
100%.
The one thing I went through recently is, not recently, it was a couple of years back when I was creating content, is I understand people that are addicted to social media.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to create good so people at least see good on social media. But no matter what, if you've got the opportunity to go and take another opportunity off social media to go and experience and live in something, go and do it.
Do you know, I like to post a lot of ramble on social media. Like, I post a lot of daft things, but it's because I want to show there is good and bad. Like, when you look at people's social media accounts, it's only the good.
Yeah.
And you don't see the bad. But I want to post about what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis because it is the truth. And I want to try and bring social media into the truth. And, like, I touched on it briefly a second ago, but it's like, do my grandparents, you know, 60, 70 years ago, check people's reposts, check people's following, you know, see Did my grandma go, oh, my granddad's
No.
just followed someone on social media? No,
No.
you know, and that's like true love has killed it because of social media.
Yeah, social media, true love's gone. It's so true. It's so true what you're saying. All of it's true, and it's sad, but the best thing we can do is use it for the positives, and that's what you're doing. You're creating positive content. So when people do get on this addictive social media, they at least see some light.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Well, when you look at social media, so much negativity is spurred out there.
It depends. It's what you want to attract. And I think I learned a little while back that humans automatically attract themselves to negativity.
Yeah.
They want to look at the negative stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And social media is basically like a gateway to it.
Oh, 100. Like football fans.
Just and I think like I feel like naturally humans are negative, and we got to train ourselves to be positive and be happy.
Yeah.
But I feel like social media is the worst thing for that. But touching on it all, are you proud of yourself?
I wouldn't say proud. I'm very grateful for everything. And like, I think there's a lot. I got a comment the other day, and I don't want to touch on a hate comment, but it was like, oh, he's faking it all now. He's milking it for the views. But I am so grateful for these opportunities, because you never know when it could all end. And I remember I was watching Aaron Hunt's podcast on it.
Yeah.
And he was like, if everything, you know, goes tits up, I'm going to go back to my job. And that's something that I so love, him and so many others, is, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but like opportunities like this, getting to be here and speak to you means so much. And meeting these people all around the country, I don't take for granted.
Well, I think you should be proud of yourself, because you're 16.
Yeah.
You're 16 years of age, and you're doing some incredible things. Some things that people don't even do in their life. And you're doing them at 16 years of age.
So I wasn't laughing about that. I was just thinking about the flowers.
Give yourself some credit, brother. Breathe, embrace, and be proud of yourself. Because what are you doing it all for if you're not being proud of yourself?
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I hope you know that.
You always talk about being proud of me, but reflect it back onto yourself for a minute. Brother, you've got to be proud of yourself. You've got to embrace it, because you'll get to 60, 70 and you'll be near time to leave this earth.
Yeah.
You want to look at yourself and be, you know what, I give it me shot, I give it me all.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to have a regret of not appreciating how boss you are in that moment.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it's too late to not appreciate it, and the marathons are done and the goals are achieved, and you never embrace that moment because of how you weren't appreciating how good you actually are. You need to appreciate yourself.
I think the moment I appreciated everything was, I made a video about my mental health, and I was at a Hull City game, and this little kid came up to me, and I love meeting people, like taking photos with people, having a chat with people. That makes my day. And this little kid came up to me and he asked for a photo, of course. And then as he was leaving, he turned around and he said, you know how football and running has saved your life? Well, you've saved mine. And like that stuck with me, and it still sticks with me, because, you know, it's moments like that when you realize, wow, sometimes the videos do help people. And
wow, that's a big moment, though.
Yeah, and it's like when I started running a mile a day, I did not expect to be where I am now. You know, still fat, but we're getting there.
But it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Humor's not a bad thing. Humor's good, you know what I mean? But stop speaking negative about yourself. As we go into 2025, as we're freshly into it, what's the one thing you want people to know about Marcus Skeet, the Hullboy?
One thing. I think that's a very deep question, isn't it?
Getting better at the podcasts.
No, I just want people to know about me is that I do talk a lot about mental health, but that's because I care. And all my content is focused around mental health. And I don't want it to come across as that I'm using mental health reviews, because that is not the case whatsoever. I talk about it because you need to. And like, sometimes I get hate that says, oh, you're milking it now. You need to stop talking about it. Not everything's to do with mental health, but it is. And if I could help one person's life, if I die when I'm 100 or whatever, 90, and I've saved one person's life, then that makes it all worth it. Because, you know, so many times we look back at these memories and you think, why have we done that? Why have we done these certain things? But I want to do these running. I want to do these runs, and I want to spread as much awareness for mental health as possible, because there's a quote I live by, and it's, I'd rather hear your story than be at your funeral, because that is a big thing, and the stigma around mental health is still huge. I know this isn't the question you asked me.
I remember that to this day, the top you wore, you told me to, I'd rather hear your story than be at your funeral.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me ever since you said that. Like, you'd rather give someone 10 minutes of your time and listen to them and get it off the chest than be at the funeral.
But that is, and I think people think that if they open up to their friends, that they're going to laugh at them. But the truth is, if that does happen, they're not true friends.
They're not friends. And you need to take that advice about the content creators you're scared about leaving you as friends.
Yeah, but it's...
The people who leave you are not true friends. Yeah. And sometimes people part ways anyway. That's life.
Life is scary, but it also is really worth living. And like, it's been a mad few months. And
I know it's been a mad few months, brother, but you've got an exciting year ahead.
Yeah, I might get a second date. Joking. Nah, yeah, I think this is just mental to me. Like, when you invited me onto the podcast, I was so... My mum said, has he run out of options? Why has he asked you?
Don't be silly.
It's just, this is so surreal. And yeah, there's so much we could talk about, but I'm so grateful that I've been able to talk.
It's been an amazing episode.
Thank you so much.
And I am so happy you've came on, because you made me realise a few things whilst we've been speaking. Let the audience know where they can find you, what socials, tell them.
I am Thehullboy. Sound. What a way to end the podcast. Yeah, I'm Thehullboy.
We've just been speaking about some dead emotional topics. And then he goes and does that.
Hey, yeah, I'm Thehullboy. I run for mental health.
Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Genuinely, like, this is... Oh, sorry, I've not...
Bring it in here.